Hey, Steno peeps, Jen back with a brand new dictation. Today I thought it'd be cool to do a mock deposition. This is between an attorney and a deponent, Mr. John Smith, who is the husband, and it's regarding a nasty divorce. So this will be at no particular speed. I will speak in a low voice for the attorney and a high voice for the deponent. Let's begin. Good morning, Mr. Smith. As you know, we are here today to take your deposition in the matter of Smith versus Smith. You've been sworn in and are under oath. Do you understand? Yes, I do. Excellent. Let's get started. Mr. Smith, how long were you and Mrs. Smith married? About 15 years. When did you separate? Last year, around June. Can you describe the events leading up to the separation? Well, it had been building up for years. We were constantly fighting, especially about the kids and money. I was tired of being accused of the things I didn't do, and I guess she felt the same way. You mentioned fighting about the children. Can you elaborate on that? She didn't like the way I disciplined them. She thought I was too harsh, but I believe in being strict. The kids were starting to act out, and someone had to do something. So you admit to disciplining the children in ways she disapproved of. I wouldn't say it like that. I disciplined them appropriately. How many times did your wife ask you to change your approach with the children? I don't know exactly, but she brought it up a lot. I was just trying to do what was best for the kids. Let's move on to financial matters. It's been stated in Mrs. Smith's affidavit that you frequently made large purchases without consulting her. Is that true? I wouldn't say frequently. There were a few times I bought things for the house or myself. It wasn't a big deal. Would you consider a $12,000 motorcycle to be a small purchase? That was a personal decision. I work hard for my money, and I thought I deserved something for myself. Did you consult Mrs. Smith before buying the motorcycle? No, I didn't think it was necessary. But your joint account was used to make that purchase, correct? Yeah, but we both used that account for things. It wasn't just my spending that caused issues. What other financial disputes did you have? She would spend money on frivolous things like spa treatments and clothes, and she'd accuse me of being irresponsible while doing that. It was a double standard. Did you ever discuss setting a budget? We tried, but it never worked. She always found a way to undermine it. Now, regarding the home, do you remember a confrontation in March where the police were called? Yes, I do. Can you describe what happened that night? We had an argument. It got loud, and she started yelling at me. I told her to calm down, but she wouldn't. So I decided to leave the house to cool off. And when I came back, the police were there. Was there any physical altercation during this argument? No, I would never lay a hand on her. But the police were called because Mrs. Smith felt threatened? I don't know why she felt threatened. I just wanted to get away from the argument. It was her idea to call the cops. Did the police make any recommendations? They told me to leave for the night, so I did. So you left the home and returned the next day? Yes. Let's talk about the infidelity allegations. Mrs. Smith claims that you were unfaithful during the marriage. What is your response to that? That is a lie. I was never unfaithful. She's just using that as an excuse to justify the divorce. So you deny having any relationships outside of the marriage? Absolutely. Mrs. Smith has provided evidence that you were exchanging messages with another woman during your marriage. Are you familiar with this? We were just friends. Nothing happened. It wasn't inappropriate. How frequently were you in contact with this woman? I don't know. Maybe a few times a week. It wasn't serious. And your wife was unaware of this friendship? She didn't need to be. I didn't do anything wrong. But you don't think it's relevant to a marriage when one spouse is communicating frequently with someone of the opposite sex without the other spouse knowing? I didn't think it was a big deal. Let's move on to the division of assets. You're asking for joint custody of the children, correct? Yes, I want to be part of their lives. I've always been involved. Yet you've also stated you travel frequently for work. How do you plan to balance that? My work schedule is flexible. I'll make it work. So you're prepared to change your schedule significantly to accommodate joint custody? Yes. Can you clarify how often you travel in a typical month? I'd say about 2 weeks out of the month, but it's not always the same. It varies depending on projects I'm working on. When you're not traveling, are you typically home in the evenings? Yes, when I'm in town, I make it a point to be home as much as possible. And in the event that you are traveling, do you have a plan in place for childcare or handling responsibilities related to the children? Yes, I've spoken with my parents. They've agreed to help out when needed. We also have a nanny who's been with us for years, so the kids will be taken care of. Okay, that's a wrap on this Q&A dictation. Just be sure to keep practicing, like all of the videos that you really want to keep working on so that you could save them to a playlist and come back to them, and I'll catch you on the next dictation.